I obviously don't believe in the Bible, but you Christians do. So how do you explain the following verse? I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. Right here, God clearly states that He creates evil. Now, a lot of Christians will say, no, that's an inaccurate translation. And a lot of Bibles translate this verse to say, I make peace and I create calamity. But the ancient Hebrew word used in this verse is ra, which is the same word used in Genesis 2:17, which says, But of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, or ra, you shall not eat. So let me ask you, Christians, should this verse be translated to read like this? But of the tree of the knowledge of good and calamity you shall not eat? That wouldn't make sense, would it? But for the sake of argument, let's just say Ra doesn't mean evil. Let's say it does mean calamity, affliction, or sorrow, like a lot of different translations say. Does that really help your case? God said He creates calamity, affliction, and sorrow. So either way, it doesn't sound very good, does it? When it boils down to it, good and evil are human concepts that define things that are beneficial and things that are detrimental. Morality is a tool of survival in which we measure things that help us and things that hurt us. For example, if I stab a man with a knife, we can agree that would be detrimental to the man being stabbed. We can agree that my action would be in fact evil. If I gave the man food and water, however, we could agree that I benefited him, which is to say I did good to the man. Of course, Christians will say, but if you know the difference between right and wrong, that means you admit that morality exists. I've had Christians actually say that to me, to which I say, of course morality exists, you morons, but acting like morality is some supernatural thing that comes to us from God is silly. But let's keep going. I've heard it said many times that God is the absolute standard of perfection. Because God exists, objective morality exists. Okay, even though God hasn't been proven to exist, let's pretend that He does exist for the sake of argument. What morals constitute as objective morals? Like, is killing someone objectively wrong? If killing someone is objectively wrong, how do we know? Is it according to God? If so, how do we know God is against it? If the answer is found in the Bible, then you've just opened up a can of worms and you've lost the argument before it's begun. You see, God says, thou shalt not kill, but then He drowns the whole world. Jesus says, turn the other cheek and love your enemies. Yet He's going to cast all of His enemies into a lake of fire. And if objective morals come from the Bible, then jealousy is objectively wrong as well. Yet God Himself declares that He's jealous. Now some Christians will say, well, He's God, so He can do whatever He wants. Which means God is all like, do as I say, not as I do. Of course, many Christians will say that God can kill if He wants to because He's God. And they'll say it was okay for God to kill and to command killing in the Bible because of whatever reason. But then you have to admit that even objective morality doesn't exist because God can and does change the morality in the Bible. In one page, He says, don't kill. In another page, He commands killing. And in another page, He's the one doing the killing. Therefore, the Bible doesn't even support objective morality. And one more thing to consider. If there is objective morality, how would you even know it came from God? Specifically, your God. And even if there is a God, as in a creator of the universe, it still wouldn't mean that objective morality exists. Because if there is a God, He may be indifferent to us anyway. Hell, if there is a God, He may not even know we exist.